All right, here's the story behind this piece of plywood. I once had $195, and then I bought this, and now I don't. But I do have this beautiful piece of 1/2-inch walnut. It is beautiful, so we're gonna make something out of it. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, I see a lot of people selling these signs on Etsy. They're like signs that people put in their kids' rooms. They say like, you know, Sam, Ross, like whatever the middle name is. A lot of them are rustic, some of them are fancy, but it's just, they're cutesy. They're like the Pinteresty, Etsy type things. So I actually got a commission to make one. It's not something I typically make, but I do see a lot of people out there making money creating these things. So I kind of wanted to show you how they're made, and then you could go out and do that and sell them and get rich. I don't know, pretty darn easy. All we're gonna need is like a backer board. In my case, I've got this piece of really expensive walnut I used for another project, and that's where the project was, and I've got quite a bit left. We'll need that, and we're gonna need some 1/4-inch MDF. This is kind of the secret sauce here, and then spray paint of your choice. So first things first, I need a 22-inch square because I'm gonna cut a circle out of it. So this is gonna be a circular sign. This can be done with basically anything you can cut a square with, like circular saw. I've got track saw, so I'm just gonna use that. Let's cut this out. All right, awesome. Okay, so now I've got a square, but I need a circle. This next part is what makes people mad. I'm going to use my CNC machine to cut the circle out, so it's perfect. You could use a jigsaw, you could use a scroll saw, you could use... I'm just being silly. Look, I am gonna use a lot of fancy stuff because I have it and I'm kind of in a hurry to get this thing done, but I will be happy to list other alternative ways that you could do the same tasks I'm doing with less fancy stuff that's a little more easier to grasp and like buy and that kind of stuff, so. Okay, so I got my circle cut out. I'm happy with the way it came out, and I just hit it with a couple coats of spray lacquer for a couple reasons, mostly to protect this beautiful walnut face here. And then the other thing is, because this is plywood, which, you know, I think is probably the best option, but you don't have to use, I'm gonna go around and cover up this, it's not grain, but those layers, like that ugly side. I'm gonna cover that up with probably some like stamping ink, just because it's right here in my drawer, but you could use black paint or, I don't know, I mean, you probably get away with Sharpie, to be honest. So let's do that, and then we're gonna move on. We're just gonna like kind of let this thing dry and put it away, and we're going to move on to cutting out the letters. Okay, cool, so we have our circle. That is drying. Now what we need to do is cut out our letters. So, a couple options here. You could draw with a pencil. You could draw your letters. You can type them on your computer, print them out, spray adhesive on your MDF, and then stick that piece of paper with your letters on it, then cut them out that way. Or you can do what I'm gonna do, and I used a Cricut, like the little vinyl cutting machine that you see on Etsy all the time. I used one of those. I use it for my shadow boxes all the time, so I have one at my disposal, and this just cuts out little vinyl letters that I can then stick on here and then cut out on the scroll saw. If you don't have a Cricut, here's a life hack. Go on a Facebook Marketplace, type in personalized, like this, personalized coffee mug, find any option, contact that seller and be like, hey, if I send you a PNG picture, can you then cut that out in your Cricut and I can come pick it up, or you can ship it to me or whatever? That person has a Cricut or a vinyl cutter or some kind of thing that will transfer your letters into this. And as far as scroll saws go, you can cut this, the easiest thing is gonna be to cut it out on a scroll saw or get a jigsaw, like a really cheap one from Walmart, and get a rolling blade for it and cut it out that way. Many different options. This is what I got going on, so this is what we're gonna use. Sweet, so back from the paint shop downstairs. I'm happy with the way this paint turned out. Can you see that? I think the secret is like the flood coat, like you saw, you just like douse that thing in paint. And of course, primer first, but then one flood coat and then leave it alone. There's a lot of tips and tricks and stuff on Instagram. Again, I'll link all that stuff down in the description. But if you followed any of my artwork, you kind of know that my thing is natural, no paints or stains. So we're gonna go with, so I cut out another, another whole batch of letters in white. Yeah, this is a weird thing. This is holly, like this really white wood. It's holly, like Hollywood, like a sign. For whatever reason, people are like very secretive about that, but it's, I don't know, I don't get that. So basically, now that we have our circle, and quick sidebar, I did have a buddy of mine laser engrave a mountain range on here. Not necessary, but definitely a good touch. We just need to glue our letters on here in a straightish fashion, and then we're gonna throw some mounting hardware on, and this thing is shipped out, done. Super glue I'm using today, Starbond adhesives, baby. Code SAM10 or something like that for 10% off. Again, down below.
Started out so small, we drank and then we talked. She got to know me, I got to know her, and suddenly it's war.
Awesome, that went well. Everything's stuck, everything is straight. That's just kind of like the stressful part. And last, I'm gonna throw down some paper towels just because it's a little bit easier. So I'm gonna flip it over, keeping it as level as I can. You'll see why in a second. All right, and I can kind of game it based on the grain pattern there. All right, which one of these has my, there we are. All right, couple D-rings, Amazon or basically any Walmart or any art store you can find those babies at. And some picture framing wire, picture hanging wire. A couple screws. Okay, that side is up. So what we're gonna do, take this bad boy, just mark a couple dots where we're gonna install our screws. I'm gonna pre-drill these, but I gotta be really careful that I don't go all the way through, because that would be bad. I only need to go in a little bit. Boom. All right, we'll install our D-rings here. I think when you get, if you were gonna make a bunch of these, I think you'd get pretty darn proficient at it, you know, and you could batch them out. I'm just doing one, and I'm kind of just showing you, so, you know, it's slightly different. Then I just kind of eyeball this part. I'm gonna cut off the excess, so I'm gonna go a little heavy. Actually, I haven't used picture frame wire in a while. Do through your D-ring, fold it over, come back around like you're tying a knot. There's better tutorials on this part, but picture frame wire is kind of a pain in the ass. And then just twist. I like to stick my finger like kind of where I suspect the nail in the wall will go. Then I can gauge how much I really need. Back through the D-ring and twist it off. And now we can hang it. I like to cut off the excess so it looks pretty. Once you don't have to, but you should. That comes off. That comes off. And then one thing I always like to do is, I've got this cute little stamp right here. It's got a date, and I've got this one that has my logo. I like to logo and date everything I make, just for future reference, and I think people really appreciate it. Boom, and the date. Love it. All right guys, that's it for this one. I'm really happy with the way this came out. I threw it in a little bag. I think it makes it a little more professional. If there's some other stuff you see on the internet kicking around, you want me to take a stab at it, I will do my best. You should go out there, make one of these, sell it on Etsy, get rich. Till then, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. See ya.
I'm too old for puppy love.